Welcome back to Sampstra Games, the place to find new strategy games, and today we're going to play another game from Hamsters Gaming. They've already made a game like Evil Bank Manager or Generals and Rulers. Both of these you can see on this channel. Now we're going to be playing Evil Democracy 1932. The game is currently in early access. And let's begin. Now, I'm going to be making a longer series on this, not just one episode. I'm going to be playing as the Great Britain 1935. 2 years after the election, Neville Chamberlain became Prime Minister of the Conservatives. The Munich Agreement and the policy of appeasement became his main mistakes. You must change this. Elections on turn 250. So what's interesting is that with Great Britain and France, the elections are only held once on turn 250 or on turn 300. With Germany, you have multiple elections every 150, 300 and 450 turns, so you want to watch out for that. However, we'll be playing for Great Britain. Now here you can pick your party. I'm going to be picking it mostly by difficulty. I think we'll be playing with the Liberal Party, which is kind of like a medium difficulty. And then we can set up how much money here we want to have. We'll go for 2.5 million, which again is kind of like a medium out of these options. We could go for 1 million, which will make it a little bit difficult. I did my test run with 1 million. But I think we'll do it 2.5 so we can show you off stuff a little bit faster. We started with very low party supporters and very low financing as well. If you chose, for example, the Conservatives, who would do much better. But that's okay, we'll play with the Liberal Party. Let's go. I do want to point out that I don't want this to be like a political playthrough, though that's a bit difficult to say on political game. But what I mean by that is I'm going to be choosing the options that are the best for the gameplay, not options that I believe in as a person, so we're just gonna pick whatever we think is good to win this game. That is it. Alright, so we start off with a budget of 2.5 million. We gain 719,000 per turn. Our staff is currently 0, and we've got 800,000 voters who like us and 18,000 sponsors. Here in the party support, you can see that currently 3% of the people in the UK vote for us, 16% for the Labour Party and 20% for the Conservatives, so kind of third from the top. Now, there are a couple things you can do the same way as it works in Evil Bank Manager. The buttons here are same to the buttons here, so you can click wherever you want. First thing we need to do is we need to appoint a leader. So we've got our leader here, Herbert Samuel, and we're going to put him as a... Actually, we could put him... We're going to put him into the treasury, actually, because he's going to give us pretty good donations, which is going to allow us to increase our money. So let me put him there. You could also hire another leader, however it costs 1.25 million, so it's quite expensive. But let me first talk to you about the attributes for these leaders. So we've got here charisma. Charisma increases the number of voters who may be influenced by the demonstration. The second leader uses half of his parameters and the third leader 1/4. Then we've got determination. This threatens the staff involved in election fraud, which is going to be interesting once we actually have the election. Eloquent language, this is going to help with the newspaper. And finally, level of belief. This determines like the loyalty of the person. So the charisma, for example, is important here with the sponsors and demonstrations, so with strikes and sponsors. Eloquent language is for the edition newspaper. This the determination is for the election, and the loyalty is just kind of in general. You gotta make sure that your leaders don't stop believing in you, because then they would leave you. Now, so we appointed our very first leader. Next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some journalists. So we're gonna search through, let's say, 5 journalists, and we're going to assign those that have the best setup. So we've got Donald Gibson. He has pretty good newspaper and interview skills, so we're going to grab him. And we're also going to grab Alvin McPherson, who has 7 for newspapers and 9 for leaflets. That's also quite cool. And James McPherson, who is really good at interviewing. I think that's enough for now, and we're going to assign them. So the way this works is that first you need to assign your people. So we currently have 1 slot for a leaflet journalist and 1 for newspaper. So we're going to pick the person who has the best leaflets. If you click on this, it's actually going to tell you on the bottom. So we're going to grab Alvin. And then we're going to pick the best person for the newspaper, who is this guy, Donald. And we've got James out. So you might think, why did I hire 3 if you can only assign 2? Well, you have the rest of the journalists down here, and you tell them to write articles. So we're going to tell James to write an article on Herbert Samuel, my leader. And because he's really good at interviewing, he's going to do a good job, and he's going to present my leader in a beneficial light so that people choose to vote for him. So we can hire a couple more journalists. I think we're going to wait on that a little bit, because there are other things we want to use the money for. Now, we could also send out our newspapers, which is what we're going to do now. And newspapers are going to help us gain new voters. So we're going to send 175,000. Actually, we can't do it yet. Okay, sorry. So next thing we're going to do is going to get staff. So we've got 3 different types of staffs. These are agitators. They will help you sort of spread your campaign, and they will kind of try to gain people in different regions. We'll talk more about them later. We've got promoters. These people are important so that you can send out your newspaper, so you can send out print leaflets and send out a newspaper. And activists, I'm not 100% sure on this, but they seem to be useful in elections, which is not going to happen for a long time, so we don't have to worry about them just yet. So let's hire some promoters. We'll try to get, I don't know, like 1,000 maybe. Probably don't need any more. It's going to cost us 52,000 to hire them and 13,000 monthly salary, or turn-based salary, I should say. And now we can send out our very first newspapers and leaflets. Now we're not going to send too much. Actually, we're going to send, let's say, for 450,000, and we can see down here how many new voters this is going to bring to us and how many new sponsors we're going to get. As soon as our journalist finished the articles, like the interview that assigned him, we can then edit here and gain more voters and more sponsors from this. So we're going to send this to print, and it's going to last, I think, about 5 turns, and then we can do another set of newspapers. Now I am going to, after all, hire few more journalists. Let's search for 4 more. Yeah, we're going to focus only on the interview skills. So we're going to get these 2, and we're going to tell them both to interview Herbert Samuel again, and they're going to work on that, and once we get all of these, we can print them in the newspaper. Now, we still got a lot of money, so there are 2 things we can do with the money now. We can either try to assign another leader, because leaders are really expensive, or we can send them out to be agitators. We could also do demonstration and protest, but I think it's too soon for that. So I think we're gonna buy another leader straight off the bat. We're gonna pick someone who is good with newspaper, ideally. Oh, we actually don't have any best options. I guess Kingsley? He has 79 in eloquent language, so that's okay. Yeah, let's grab him. And we're gonna put him here, so we get a bonus when we send out the newspapers and leaflets because of him. So we're gonna place him there. And next thing we're gonna do is gonna hire some agitators. We're gonna hire as much as we can, straight up. We're gonna use all of our money. Let's do it. And we're gonna send them out on the map. Now here on the map you can see the percentage of voters in each regions that like you. So for example, if you look at Wales, it says here that 3% of the voters from Wales vote for us, which is not great. So we're going to try to send out some agitators to help out with that. We're going to send all of them, and you can do a couple options, all 600 of them. You can either equally distribute them to all regions, proportionally based on the voters that you have. 25% of the regions have the lowest percentage of our voters, so only to those, or to those with the highest number of voters. We're going to do equally right now, so we're going to send them all there. And now you can see here, if you click on the agitation, you can see how many agitators we have in each region. For example, in Wales we have 38, and also where in sort of like order we are by the number of agitators. So we're going to be first on everything because nobody else has any agitators anywhere. And that's all we're going to do right now. And we could also see here like the voters distribution on the show, but also the sponsors distributions. The sponsors are really important because they give you money so you can gain more income per turn. So let's go back to headquarters and move towards the following turn. Now we've gotten 800,000, and we've also gained some additional voters through newspapers. Actually, let me show it off. Through newspapers, we have gained 3.8 thousand people, and we've also gained 282,000 voters through agitation. Now that's going to get lower quite significantly because other people are putting out agitators out there as well, so the people that even liked us might be persuaded to vote for someone else. Okay, we got no sponsors, that's fine. Now we're gonna pick a dogma now. We should have done it on the first one, but I kind of forgot. So the ideology of your party is center left, which means this is the second column. That means that if we choose something from this column, We're going to get a positive reward, that's the same everywhere, but the negative reward is just equal to what it's written. So for example, if we were to choose freedom of expression, the salary expenses for the staff would be 5% higher, but the benefit would be that one parameter of your random junior party leader has increased to 120. Now, if we pick something from a different column, for example, if we pick this power of the leads, because this does not align with my ideology, this is not a center-left ideology, this is a right ideology, then the negative effects are multiplied for us. So instead of losing support from our regular voters by 1%, we actually lose 3%. Because the voters are like, wait, what? You didn't say you're gonna vote for, you're gonna pick this dogma, like you promised something else, you know, like this is not in line with your ideology, so you gotta watch out for that. So let me first show you the options from my column. So we could get the freedom of expression, which would give us better junior party leader. That's good, but it's not something that I'm crazy about. Alternatively, social protection. 5% of regular voters from all regions have become your supporters, so this will give us a lot of voters. However, we would lose support from our sponsors. 1% of the total number of sponsors in each region no longer support you and have become non-partisan. Well, that's actually not too bad. I also like to look at the dogma length. So I like to kind of sign more dogmas. So we want to pick dogmas that don't take like too long. Now this is one more thing with the dogma. If it doesn't align with your party, for example here, the length of the dogma is increased. So here it's going to take us 3 times as long to sign this because we need to sort of like convince our people that's a good idea because it does not align with our ideology. So I think we're going to go with this social protection. Quite like it. Wait, what is this though? Class enemies. The concept of class enemies serfs and the working class are above all other classes. Increases our party funds. The cost of printing has increased. No, we're gonna go with social protection. I quite like this one. Let's do it. So we're gonna get less sponsors, which is not great, but a lot of voters, which is really good. So we've got a lot of money. So there are a couple of things we could do. We could get more agitators. And that's essentially the only thing we could do, because we could also get more journalists, but I don't think we need them. They should be able to finish the next round of interviews before we print more stuff. We could, however, assign a journalist to the newspaper here, which would give us sort of like a bonus to the newspaper when we send them out. That's actually a good idea. Let's do that. We're going to open this slot. It's going to cost us $500,000. And we're going to try to find somebody who is good in newspaper. So we need this set up. So our current people only have the maximum of 5, which is really rubbish. So let's go search for, let's say, 10 newspaper guys. Someone who is really good at newspaper. So we've got 11 here. So let's pick this guy. He has a much lower salary, so I'm okay with that. I would like him to be fairly good with leaflets as well. Let's pick Edward Gibson. We're fine with that. And we'll send him over here to go work there. Off you go, and give me another bonus from my newspaper. Now we still got 300,000, so we're gonna buy the agitators just for this, because we can. So let's hire them. We're gonna send them out to, let's say, I think everywhere. We're just going to equally send them to everywhere. Now there's another thing you can do, and that's protest. They're quite expensive. They cost like 2 million. Well, actually, this is a demonstration. Protests actually cost 10 million, and then we also have strikes. And the demonstration help you get a lot of voters, a lot of sponsors. It's really, really beneficial. So you definitely want to wait till you get enough money for that, because it's really, really good. Now let me move towards the next turn. Now I'm going to be able to see here how we went. So this time we only get 6,000 people in the agitation. Now you see it's a big difference towards previously, because the other parties are also sending out agitators, so we're not getting as much of a benefit here. This is something you want to look at later game, because as you move into later game, even buying a lot more agitators is not going to be as helpful. So later on it might be more beneficial to put the money into the newspapers or some leaders or things like that, or the demonstrations, because the agitators themselves are just not going to be so effective. We're still not gaining any sponsors from anything, and we didn't gain any from the newspaper. So the way the newspaper works is that they only give you the people on the first turn of the newspaper, and then you have to wait 5 turns. So it's, again, something you want to calculate, like, is it more worth to put the money into the newspapers, or is it worth to put it into the agitators? So you want to kind of look at that. Now I think what I want to do next, we cannot hire another leader because that costs us 2 million. That's going to take forever. So I think we're just gonna hire some more agitators right now, as much as we can. And then we're probably gonna start saving up for a protest, because it's only gonna take us 3 turns to get there. So let's send more agitators everywhere. Now you can see here, if you look at the agitation, you can see how it's kind of like ordered with the numbers. So we can, for example, see that when we look at, let's say, Wales again, we are the 5th in place by total number of agitators. So here we can see the current amount of voters that want to vote for us. We actually can't see here like the number of agitators that the other people have, but you know that there are total 1,638 agitators. You essentially have a little less, like 8% of them are ours, and we're 5th in the number of the agitators in that particular region. Overall, you can see that the Conservative Party has the most agitators, 6,000. The Labour Party has 5,000. We're not even in the top 5. Like, we're very much below that because we only got like 2,000. So we gotta work on getting more agitators, actually. So we want to work on that. So let's move towards the next turn. Alright. So with our agitator, we've got 9,000 voters. That's pretty good. So I said I'm going to do the protest, but I'm actually going to work on the agitators because I don't like the fact that I'm not even on the top 5 of agitators. Like, that's not, we cannot fall behind like that. That's not great. So now the tutorial here is telling us to issue 3 reporting assignments. We've already done that a long time ago. Later on, you could also send journalists to slander enemy politicians, or to just kind of like talk badly about another party, which is going to lower their financial income. But we're not going to do it just yet. I think we want to just focus on boosting ourselves a little bit first before we start slandering somebody else. Also, we're not quite sure who to slander yet, because yes, the Conservative is winning, but like we're not even close to them, so getting them from 20% to 19% is going to be like, since we still only have 4%. So let's hire all the agitators that we can. Did I do it yet? Yes, good. And we'll send them out. I'm going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to send them to 25% of the regions where we have the highest number of voters. I just remember I should talk slow. A little late for that. And you can see that, for example, in West Midlands, we're now the 2nd person with the highest number of agitators, which is quite nice. And we're moving to top 5 with our total number of agitators, which is pretty good. I do want to make sure that we can, for example, sort of like lock in some of the regions to make sure that we get a lot of voters there. So that would be quite good. So let's go back to the headquarters and jump towards the next one. You do not need to be in the headquarters to jump toward the next one. You can do it from anywhere. We already have 2 leaders in our post. We don't really have the money to get more leaders. Let me check this. 12,000 voters. This is really good. It would be a good idea though to have a leader with the sponsors, because he could give you like 200 sponsors every turn, which would be nice. So do we want to save up for leaders? That might actually be a good idea. It would take us 3 turns with no agitators, which is not great, but we would forever get sponsors, which would be nice. I think we'll do it. You could also remove a leader from assignment. However, then you cannot assign him again and for 5 turns, so it's not the most beneficial thing to do right now. So just gonna wait for the next turn, not buy any more agitators. And as you're gonna see here, we got 9,000 last turn. Now it's only 8,900. It's gonna get lowered because again the competition is getting more agitators, so we're getting a little bit less. Here you can, by the way, see how many we get in each region. So for example, in Yorkshire and Humber and Scotland North, we're actually not gaining any voters. So one strategy would be to sort of send out our next agitators there to equalize it. Another one is going to be like, I want to give up on the region, I do not care, I want to send my agitators elsewhere to capitalize on my stuff. And that's kind of like what we gotta figure out as we play this game. So let's move towards the next turn again. Ooh, and we can send our next set of newspapers. Now, it's not always the case that this combo is the most beneficial for you. First of all, we don't have enough promoters, but even if we did, it might not give us that many new voters. For example, actually, it seems like it does in this case, but it's not always the case. Like this game had a moment where it didn't do that. I think we're gonna send this. You can see that this is, I'm saving 150,000, but the difference in the number of people I can get is only like a little bit, especially in the minimum number. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna add some articles. We're gonna pick the most beneficial one. So this one that gives us +4 in random parameters, and this one gives us +5. Also click here to print maximum articles, and it's gonna pick the one with the best setup. So you can actually see now that the numbers changed a little bit. Ooh, this is really good. So you can see if I went here from 250 to 400, it would only increase by 2,000, but if I increase it up here with the newspaper, the benefit is much better. So we actually might want to do that. And again, we could save up 100,000 here and not lose much in newspapers or voters. Yeah, we're gonna go like this, I think. Let's do it. It's gonna cost us $1 million though, which is a lot of money, but I think it's gonna be worth it because we're gonna get a lot of people. I'm also going to, actually I'm not gonna buy any agitators because I do want to do the leader next turn. So let's just jump towards the next turn. Now if you look over here, we gain 16.5k. Well, actually that's not that much. We get much better chances. Get higher things from the newspaper and 5,000 from our agitation. So you can see it keeps on falling a little bit as the others do stuff. But now I can get myself a new leader. I think for the sponsor you want someone who's charismatic. So we'll get you, party leader, Owen Evans, and we'll assign him here. We get an effect of 199. So this is gonna mean that we'll get 199 sponsors every turn. Now you can have 2 people focusing on sponsors, but the effect of the second one is only going to be 50%. And we only have 77,000 left, but we're going to put it towards agitators just so we can add them up a little bit. It's not going to do much, but like a little. And we'll put them in the highest number of voters where we have. And let's move towards the next turn. Okay, good. We gain only 3,000 now, but we gain these sponsors that I talked about because of the leader. So I think this is a good time to end the first episode. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and you can click on the right to watch the next one, and you can click on the bottom to watch me play some other games by Sampstra Gaming, like Evil Bank Manager or Generals and Rulers. I'll see you there. Bye bye!